Hey friends, it's Dimitri with your Boschker Streetwear. So in front of me here I have two virtually identical boxes. But this box right here, believe it or not, it costs $3.04 cheaper to ship a hat and a t-shirt. So you might be very confused because these are the exact same box. They look the same, but they don't weigh the same. This box right here is about 19% thinner, or it weighs less, and it actually weighs 1.1 ounces less than this box. So for years I've been using this 7x7x7 box and it's worked great and everything. But what happened was, well, it's happened many times in the past, but up until recently I just kind of noticed it. So when someone orders a hat like this, like a dad hat, and a size large or greater t-shirt, like an extra large or double XL, the weight with that included in the box, it just barely goes over a pound. And this is kind of like a common point with shipping. When it exceeds a pound, the price dramatically increases. And you know, I would be shipping stuff like that when the situation happened. I'd just ship and be like, oh, whatever, you know, it's part of the business. Like, that's going to happen and I can't control it. But then one day I was looking at how much more it is, and it was just so much. It was just barely slightly over a pound. And I was like, you know what? I need to figure out a way to get that down under a pound. So what I did was I went on Uline just out of curiosity to see if I could get a smaller box or something like that and see if I could work it out. But then I was like, but then I found the same size box and they make a slightly thinner version. And you know, the cool thing about this box is that you really can't tell that it's thinner and lighter. And the rigidity of the box is more than enough to simply ship out, you know, a t-shirt and a hat. I'm not using these boxes to ship out like metal bricks or anything like that. So this is more than adequate enough to do the job. And the cool thing too is that this box itself is 8 cents cheaper than this thicker box. So I got rid of this box and I no longer am going to be purchasing those to use for this situation. And I'm really glad I found that out because, like I said, it's a $3.04 difference in shipping costs. When I package this up, it goes under a pound and I save that money. And let's just say that I only ship 100 specific orders like this a year, just for example. That's already over $300 savings over the year. But let's say that, you know, maybe you or another brand does the same thing and they are shipping thousands and thousands. Let's just say you ship 1,000 like this. That's a $3,000 savings over however long it takes for you to ship that many boxes. So paying attention to those really, really small details really matters, and they make a huge difference. So I'm really glad I found that out. Now, this specific situation is only for the hat and a large t-shirt. When it's a medium or a small t-shirt, it doesn't exceed that. It wasn't exceeding that threshold of weight over a pound, so you know, it's not a problem. But then I tried it with an extra large shirt to see if it would work, and the extra large, it weighs more than a pound. So this particular situation didn't work for that. And then it got me thinking, you know what, can I push the envelope a little bit more and figure out if I can make it go under a pound? So I actually did. I think I made a video about the 7x7x5 box that I use now rather than the 7x7x4 box for hats. But I was out of curiosity, I was like, let's see if this extra large shirt and the hat will fit in there without being all crumpled up. So that's the other thing. When you're shipping stuff like this, you know, you could technically fit stuff into a smaller and smaller and smaller box. You could cut more and more corners, but you don't want the product itself to be all crumpled up and ruined, especially with hats. And that's the other kind of trick to all this kind of shipping stuff. You want to make sure that the product itself is somewhat still presentable and makes sense, and it's not diminishing the quality of the actual product. But as you could tell, the hat and the t-shirt do fit in this size box. And the cool thing is it's 5.9 ounces. It's 0.1 ounces under a pound. So this also goes in line with this cost saving measure. Now, the cool thing about this entire thing is that the actual product, the t-shirt and the hat, obviously that's not getting diminished in quality. The customer is still getting all the same stuff. It's same shipping speed and everything like that. It's just the box is slightly different. And at the end of the day, I mentioned this in previous videos, the customer is not purchasing this. This is irrelevant to them. This is just a means to get their product. The customer at the end of the day is purchasing this. So remember, when you are figuring out how to cut shipping costs and costs overall in your business, don't skimp out on the actual quality of the product. Go and look at stuff like this. Really, really take time and look at the details and kind of obsess over them. It kind of takes a little bit of like curiosity and obsession over these kinds of things. And to me personally, I love doing this kind of stuff because it's like, oh wow, this is literally $3.04 cheaper to ship. One small note, you might be wondering, it's like, okay, well, if the extra large and the hat fit into this box, why not just use this box to ship the large t-shirt and the hat itself as alongside with that? The reason why I don't do it is because this box actually, even though it's bigger, it's actually slightly cheaper than this box. So I am gonna still use this standard only until it's an extra large shirt I flip to this box. So that's why it's like that. And one other lesson from this, I think, to wrap up this video. So the other day, or actually this morning, I was reading an article about a small business and they started an ice cream shop. They started selling ice cream online. They had really cool flavors. And at their peak, they were valued around $40 million. So a pretty substantial small business size. And they're kind of explaining why that company went down and they went bankrupt. And they're listing off a bunch of reasons that were like ultimately very avoidable. And they were just small little details in their business that didn't work. Like for instance, they had to get some kind of custom tubs for ice cream, and that cost like almost $500,000 when they should have used standard containers and all that kind of stuff. They were underfilling or overfilling their ice cream, which caused a lot of maintenance problems, and they couldn't package stuff well. So they should have, figured out, they should have calibrated their machine to actually do that right. Those are just a few little examples. And I was just reading, I'm like, man, like these aren't really like the biggest problems. These are problems that they easily could have solved. And it got me thinking that that is something we should all do as business owners in general. You got to obsess over the little details. You put a microscope over little problems and figure them out, and don't let them become large problems. Like for this one, for example, I could have not given a thought when it was slightly over a pound. I could have been like, whatever, it's just part of the business. But you should always have the opposite approach and be like, hey, how can I fix this small problem? And when you fix small problems like that, you'll be surprised that they can have larger rewards. And at the end of the day, what this does is it puts more money back into the business, saves more money, helps me to stay competitive with shipping prices. And if things ever get rough, if the economy is slow, I have that sort of buffer room that I'm building around my business, so like a hedge of protection in doing stuff like this. So that's the great lesson from all this. If you guys got any value out of this video, or if you have any other comments or questions, you could leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.